Welcome to episode 495 of the Recruitment Marketing and Sales Podcast. And I'm your host, Denise Oyston. And today we are continuing our Standing Out in 2026 series. So if you caught last week's episode on daily mindset habits, you'll know we've been diving into the practical actions that are going to help you this year. This is based on what's working for our clients currently. Also, if you haven't accessed the Marketing Trends Report, I'm going to drop a link for you, then please do so, because this actually outlines exactly what's working now. And we've sort of distilled this down so that you've got a sort of step-by-step guide on what you need to do next. So last week was all about what's going on between your ears. This week, we're talking about what you can actually do, specifically being more active and more visible. So here's the thing. Most business owners know they need to be more visible. They know they should be posting, engaging, showing up, but they are not doing it. They're too busy, distracted, waiting for things to calm down. Spoiler, things never, ever calm down, as we all know. So today we're going to talk about why visibility matters more than ever this year, what's actually getting in your way, and how the recruitment businesses that are winning right now are the ones that simply show up consistently. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Recruitment Marketing and Sales Podcast. An obsessive focus on marketing and sales is the only way to accelerate your company growth. So listen in now as we share the latest strategies and techniques guaranteed to deliver you more placements and profits. Well, hi there everyone, this is Denise. Hope you and yours are well. Thank you for the emails that we received about mindset. It's always good to remember about getting our brain into gear, isn't it? Especially when we come back after an extended break. So let's talk about standing out this year, and it's probably easier than most people realize. So today we're going to talk about visibility, and we're going to talk about consistency. So let's talk about this visibility gap, and let's paint a picture for you. So imagine you've got two recruitment business owners, both are absolutely brilliant at what they do, both have years of experience. Generally, the sorts of people that we work with, both genuinely care about their clients and their candidates, and both have all the knowledge that they need to succeed and place the right people in the right roles. One of them posts on LinkedIn 3 or 4 times a week. They send a monthly email to the database. They pick up the phone to past clients every few weeks. They share insights about the market. They even comment on other people's posts. And they show up at industry events. Now, the other one, in contrast, really busy. They're on the phone all day with candidates. They're chasing clients. They're doing the work. But LinkedIn's probably been quiet for them for several weeks. Their email list has not heard from them since the back end, probably of September. They keep meaning to reach out to that client who placed 3 candidates with them a few years ago, but something always comes up. Now, here's the question. When a hiring manager in their sector has a vacancy to fill, which one of them do you think comes to mind first? Let's be honest, it's not even close, is it? And here is what the research tells us, that actually between 60 to 80% of people will visit a website or a social media profile before they start to engage with the company. So that means your potential clients and candidates are checking you out online, whether you realize it or not. So think about those 2 business owners. You've got number one that's doing all of the work, they're doing the things, they're also taking time as part of their system and the process to post on LinkedIn. They're doing that and people are seeing it. And those people are forming opinions about them based on what they see or do not see. And they do that before they even know that you exist. And it's the same for you. So if they land on your LinkedIn and the last post was from 3 or 4 months ago, what does it tell them? If your website is outdated, feels like it's not been touched in years, what message does that send? We're not saying this to make you feel awful, so I apologize if it does. We're saying it because it's just reality, and it's that sense check of where am I now? Because this, unfortunately, is the market that we're operating in currently. So if visibility is so important, we all know it is, why do so many business owners in the recruitment sector really struggle with it? Well, we've been working with you guys now for, it's just coming up to 18 years, and we've seen every version of this story. So let's share a few of the patterns that we see time and time again, and I'm sure you will relate to many of these. First, there's the delivery trap. You're caught up in the day-to-day work, you're filling roles, managing candidates, keeping clients happy, that marketing always falls to the bottom of the list. And we get it. When you have a client on the phone, they've got an urgent vacancy, that feels more pressing than writing a LinkedIn post. Totally get that. The problem is urgent always beats important. And marketing is important, even when it does not feel urgent. I'm sure you've all done the Eisenhower matrix around urgent and important. I know I've mentioned before. Second, there's the overwhelm factor. And it's a word that we all like to use. I'm overwhelmed. There's a choice about being overwhelmed, which we can get into. I think we'll get Sharon to record a podcast on that. But marketing advice is absolutely everywhere. And a lot of it is contradictory. Yes, it is. And we've mentioned this before because a lot of marketing advice is based on what huge companies do. It's not based on micro and SME. It's like, should you be on TikTok? What about a podcast? I'm going to come on to that as a way to stand out. Great. But it depends where you are in your cycle. And are you supposed to be making videos now? For a small business owner juggling multiple responsibilities, I appreciate it can feel paralyzing, can't it? So it's logical that you do nothing. And third, and this is a big one, there's this I'll do it when things calm down myth. And we all know things do not calm down. They might calm down on one front, but then they ramp up in another. There's no magical quiet period where you'll suddenly have time to focus on your marketing. If you wait for that perfect moment, you will be waiting forever. And then, of course, there's the shiny object syndrome. I occasionally have that going on for me. I manage to manage it through some of my mindset work that I do. You start posting on LinkedIn, and then you hear about some new AI tool that will do everything bar make the tea for you. And then someone will tell you about a webinar that they've been on. Then you'll read about a new platform. And before you know it, you've started 5 different things, or you've researched them, that's even worse, and finished none of them. So does that sound familiar? I'm sure it does. So here's the thing. Now is the time to just press pause, to press reset. If you haven't listened to some of the past podcasts over the last few weeks, a couple of the ones that I did before Christmas around priority setting, then please go back and there's a full transcription of all of them, but please go back and listen to those. Because what we want to be looking at is being more active and being active consistently. Because here's what we want you to understand. Visibility compounds over time. Imagine that blog post or that social post that you posted doesn't just work for you today. A blog or an article that you write this week could still be bringing people to your website 12 or even 24 months, 2 to 3 years from now. A LinkedIn post you put out on Monday might be seen by someone who's not ready to use a recruiter just yet, but 6 months later, and when they have a vacancy, your name pops into their head because they've been seeing your content regularly. Now, here's the thing. This is the bit that many people miss. Marketing is not about instant results. It's about building familiarity and trust with you over time. People need to see you multiple times before they even remember that you exist. They need to experience your expertise before they believe in it. So let me share an example about one of our lovely clients. He's called Steve. And there is a video of Steve talking to Sharon on the website. Go and look into the case studies. He's called Steve Lee. He's amazing. And he's been working with us for a while now, probably coming up to 3 years, I think. And he's been an engineering recruitment for 28 years. 28 years. But nobody knew who he was. He was working alone in a competitive market. He's a solo recruiter. It basically was relying just on one-to-one BD. His LinkedIn was dormant, and Steve's brilliant, by the way. His expertise was completely hidden. This was when we started working with him. Now, Steve started working with us a couple of years ago, and when he joined Superfast Circle, the transformation, it didn't actually happen overnight, and he admits he stopped and he started at first, but eventually something clicked. And he committed to show consistently, following the process, using the monthly content that we gave him, posting regularly, and trusting that something was happening in the background. Now, within a year, he'd won 8 new clients. He generated over 26 grand in fees from LinkedIn alone that he could track. His connections were up by nearly 40%. But here's the part that really gets us. After nearly 3 decades of contingency-only work, he actually secured 2 retained projects that were worth about 36 grand, in just over 2 weeks, which for Steve was significant as a solo recruiter. Now, this did not happen because he learned some secret technique. It happened because he became visible, but not just visible, he was consistently visible. People could finally see his expertise. Clients were buying into his value before the fee conversation even started. And Steve actually has an engineering background, so he really understood everything about having a system, having a process, following the step-by-step guide. And that's all he did. He knew nothing about marketing before he joined us. And just by following a really simple system, it started to work for him. Now, let's just talk about what being active actually means. Now, we want to be clear about something. When we talk about being more active, we are not talking about being everywhere, all of the time, doing all of the things. Because let's be honest, in today's market, that is a fast track to burnout, and it's just not necessary. We're talking about being consistent, focused presence in the places that matter for your business. So for most business owners that we work with, that starts with LinkedIn. It's the single most important social platform for B2B for the majority of you. But here is what works. It's not about posting the old corporate announcement or sharing every single vacancy that you have. The most effective LinkedIn strategies are content led by you as a business owner or your senior consultants, posts that share opinions, lessons learned, some quick tips and ideas, and commentary about what's happening in your specific sector and market. Something that makes consistent posting easier is having structured content themes. So, for example, you might do a weekly market update on Monday, maybe on Wednesdays, it's a candidate tip. On Tuesdays, it's a client tip. Maybe on Thursday, you have a client challenge you helped solve. When you have themes, you're not staring at a blank screen and wondering what to say. What's Monday's post going to be before Monday arrives? And here's something a lot of people overlook. Commenting on other people's posts is just as powerful as creating your own. Because let's be honest, no matter who you are, we all like to be seen, don't we? We all like to be acknowledged and appreciated. And something that we need to really understand, because if you are commenting on somebody's post, then that person is going to see it, and other people looking at that post are going to see it. Now, if your target clients are posting on LinkedIn, and they probably are, I would imagine, hopefully they are, then showing up in their comments with thoughtful insights is a high impact way to get on the radar, because this is not about, the goal isn't selling in comments. You don't need to sell it in comments. That's just going to cheese people off, and people don't appreciate that. All you're doing is demonstrating your expertise, and you're starting to do that familiarity piece. You're building familiarity over time. And, the key word in all of this is consistency. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need polished videos and super professional graphics. In fact, you can do amazing graphics in Canva, especially with all the updates that it's just had. You need to show up regularly enough that people start to recognize your name and associate you with that specialist area. It's that consistently being in front of people, so that if people are Googling you, they're searching for you, they're looking for you on LinkedIn, they can find you really easily. So while we're on that topic of finding you, we're on about personal brand versus company brand. I just want to say a piece about this, because personal branding, whether we like it or not, is so key. Let's touch on something the research has made really, really clear, that personal brands matter a lot more than company pages, particularly in smaller organizations, because buyers trust people more than a logo. They respond to content where real human beings are interacting with them. With everything going on with AI at the moment, you're in a relationship business, totally appreciate that AI can save us loads and loads of time. But what people are looking for is they're looking for human beings to share their experiences, their expertise, their opinions. And your company place does absolutely have a place, particularly if you're doing any advertising, then you need to have a company page, because otherwise you can't do that. But it should not be your primary focus, especially not if you are a micro or smaller SME. If you are the founder or MD of a recruitment or search business, your profile should really be the main hub for your content. The company page, it can actually amplify and support it, but the human connection happens through your personal presence. Now, if you have consultants in your team, encourage them to develop their own presence within their subvertical of your sector. One of the most powerful positioning moves we see is when someone becomes known as the go-to person for a specific, let's just say, thing, the person everyone thinks about when it comes to tech roles in the north of England, the recruiter who really understands the legal and law sector, the one who knows the fintech market inside out. You do not need a big team to do this. You need 2 or 3 of you who are willing to post consistently, share opinions, and engaging in conversation with potential clients who are going to see you. You start doing this. We've got so many success stories about people who've literally just gone onto social media, started posting again, sharing their knowledge, showing up, being visible and valuable. And they generally get a lot of their, which we're going to come on to next week, some of their clients coming back to them, their candidates coming back to them, they used to work with years ago. So it needs to happen, and it is a pretty simple, straightforward process. So what happens if you don't do that? What is the cost of invisibility? So let's just spend a moment on what happens when you don't do this, because sometimes we do need to feel the cost of inaction to motivate us to take action. So when you're not visible and you're relying almost entirely on reactive BD, it's a nightmare. It is a nightmare, because we know, let's be honest, we've all been in that position when something's happened, we haven't done the BD that we anticipated we were going to do. You're waiting for the phone to ring, you're dependent on existing clients coming back. And referrals are great. I love referrals, but They don't always happen consistently, do they? And that works. So having that, the phone ringing, people and all those things, that works until it doesn't. And we've seen this pattern so many times. Recruitment business ticking along nicely, busy with current clients, doing much marketing because there's an immediate need. Then suddenly something changes in the market. Key clients' business slows down, something happens, competitor wins some business away from you, the market shifts. Suddenly, that owner realises they have no pipeline, there's no warm leads, no prospects who know who they are. Speaking of the challenges that we discuss on this podcast around attracting the clients that you want and the candidates to fill the roles that you get, it's a competitive market. And Sharon and I have taken some time away from the business to actually put together something that will help you figure out exactly where you stand with your marketing right now. Now, we've created a quick assessment specifically for recruitment search and staffing business owners just like you, and it's designed to help you identify whether you're effectively attracting both clients and candidates with your current marketing approach, or if there are some gaps that you need to address. Now, this quiz will just take a few minutes and it'll give you a picture of where your marketing is working and where it might be falling short. Because to be honest, in a market where 87% of companies are struggling with skills gaps and candidates are ghosting left, right and centre, your marketing really does need to be spot on. And when you've taken this assessment, we will email you your personalised PDF. So it's personalised to you and it's related to the scores that you achieve and where you fit in a ranking. And what we know works when people are low on one score or high on another. And I think you'll find that incredibly useful too. So if you want to know and find out about your marketing, how it stacks up, then go to superfastrecruitment.co.uk/scorecard, and that will take you to a page. Put your name and email address in there, and then you'll go straight into the quiz. And again, it only takes a few minutes. Trust me, it's worth the time, especially if you feel like you're not achieving the results that you want currently with the market the way that it is, and you really want to assess where you are so you can make some changes. So let's get back to that podcast. Now, they have to start building visibility from scratch at exactly the moment when they are under pressure and stress. And it's a horrible position to be in. I was talking to you about Steve earlier, and what Steve started doing, he started doing a bit, then he stopped, then he started, then he stopped, and then suddenly he just sort of said, I've just got to do this and just accept the process. And he started to build. So he'd already started that traction. And so building visibility from scratch is hard. The feast and famine cycle, everyone talks about it in recruitment, it is almost always a visibility problem. When you're busy, you stop marketing. When work dries up, you panic and start again. Then it takes months to rebuild. It's exhausting, and it is really completely avoidable. Now, the thing is, as well, the market has got a lot more competitive, and if you are not showing up, the uncomfortable truth is your competitors are showing up. So the recruiters who are consistently visible in your market are starting to become the default choice. And it's the same in any market. This is not rocket science. I'm not teaching you some fundamental new truth that you didn't know. It's funny because we've moved house and I'm looking for somebody to do some sort of hard landscaping outside. And I wanted to really use somebody in our village, if there was somebody locally just around the corner. And it's fascinating because obviously I've been online and had a look, and there's 2 or 3 other companies that are posting consistently on, and this just happens to be on Facebook. Facebook, very good for tradies. And I keep looking at this particular company and thinking, I'm going to have to contact them because I can't find anybody else around it. Lots of people say, oh, yeah, such a buddy. I think he does a bit of landscaping. Or, I think that guy, John, over there, I think he does a bit of, he could probably do the patio for you. But I can't find out anything about them. So I'm probably going to go with somebody that's probably about 15 miles away that is posting, got some lovely pictures that they're posting about some of the things that they've done. I'm probably going to have to go to that person because I'm not seeing the people that I want to work with. And I know how this stuff works. So you can just imagine for your clients and candidates, if they're not seeing you, they're not going to remember who you are. And let's stop talking about my patio and go back to talking about the recruitment market, because the recruiters who are consistently visible are becoming the default choice. They're the ones who come to mind when someone has a hiring need. They're building relationships through the content, through how visible they are, even if they've never spoken to somebody directly. Now, we have a client called Mark. He works over in the US on the technical sales recruitment side. Been working with him for, what is it now? Probably just over 6-7 months. And he came to us because really good recruiter and just wasn't visible in front of his potential clients that he wanted to work with. He was feeling invisible, struggling with his partner. So he decided to focus on what he knew best. And with the content that we'd given him, he decided to create a 3-part blog series and added some of his own engineering experience and sales into it. And he was totally shocked at the response, because out of a couple of 100 people that he was connected with, he had something around 25% response with comments and feedback. People he'd not heard from in ages were reaching out saying, great article, loved it. Some were even writing detailed paragraphs about how useful they found it. But here's the bit that matters. The content started generating real business opportunities. He got a contract, submitted candidates, had interviews ongoing. Within, a couple of months, he got I think it was 8 to 10 active roles, and the potential to cover, really, for him, a whole year's worth of revenue. And I think it just gives you that indication that the power is showing up and sharing what you know. Now, if you've been listening to this and you're feeling that O word, that overwhelm word, we want overwhelm word. Yeah, it is a word. Well, actually, it's a feeling, but there you go. We want to give you permission to start small, because that really is all you need to do. As your starting point, you do not need to be posting 4, 5, 6 times a day. That's not realistic for most small recruitment business owners as they first start, and it's not necessary. What you need initially is what we call a minimum viable visibility plan. So just think about MVV. Something you can actually stick to. And maybe that for you is starting off at 2 LinkedIn posts a week to start with. Maybe it's 1 email to your database every 10 days. Maybe it's setting aside, and this is really easy to do, 15 minutes a day to comment on posts from people in your network. I do this a lot. Put my phone on, 15-minute timer, set it, and that's it. When that's done, that's done. Now, and you might be surprised to hear me say this, the specific activities probably matter less than the consistency. Something small that you do every week will always beat something ambitious that you do for a month and then you just abandon it. So, Rachel, she runs ICE Recruitment. She's been working with us for many years now. When her and Neil first started working with us, they told us that, marketing was at the bottom of the priority list. She didn't know where to focus, felt overwhelmed. And once she'd actually established a clear system, she knew exactly what to do each week, and everything changed. This is what we want for you. It's not perfection. It's not doing everything, just a consistent presence that builds over time. So let's wrap up by coming back to where we started. You already know you need to be more visible. You need to be more visible and you need to be more active. The question is whether you're going to do something about it. So this year, the businesses that stand out are not necessarily the ones with the biggest budgets or, the fancy websites. They're the ones that show up consistently, the ones who become familiar. They're building trust, sharing what demonstrating their expertise. Competitors who are posting while you were too busy, they are building relationships, I hate to say, with your future clients right now. So, and remember something I said earlier about the compound effect. We all know about compounding, don't we? We've got things in our pension pots and various other things, and we know about compound interest and how things happened in that way. It actually works with content as well. We have a couple of blog posts, for instance, on our website. We have one in particular that's like 12 years old. I have updated it. In fact, I generally update it every year, but it is still getting traffic and it's one of our most visited blog posts and it's still there. And I wrote it and recorded it a long, long time ago. And that happens with content. Its compound effect of content is amazing. And the best part around content is you don't need to do everything. You do need to do something though consistently. So here's our challenge for you. Whatever your minimum viable visibility plan looks like, start it. Don't start it. No, not next Monday, not when things calm down. Do it this week. Because the only way you become front of mind is to be present. And the only way to be present is to show up. I think we all know that, don't we? So how can we help you? Yes, we can. If you know you need to be more visible, you're struggling to make it happen on your own, then that's how we help you. Our members get done for you content that they can personalize and they can use. It takes hours and hours, literally days out of their calendar each month to do things. They also get, obviously, you've got I think the trendy term is fractional CMO. We are your marketing directors, so we can point you in the direction of what you should be doing for you in your particular market. And you get accountability and support working with us. So if you want to find out more about that, obviously reply to one of the emails that you receive from us every week, or just drop me a note on LinkedIn, send me a message. And that's it for today's episode. So thank you so much for listening. Next week, we're going to continue the Standing Out series with an episode about low-hanging fruit, re-engaging the gold mine that the majority of people have who listen to this podcast when it comes to your database and past clients. So until then, look after yourselves and we'll see you next week. If you enjoy this podcast and this year you are ready to take your marketing to the next level, then check out Superfast Circle. This is a unique marketing program designed specifically for recruiters and their marketeers. You get access to 2 virtual marketing directors, you get consultancy, you get your hand held through the whole process, training, consulting, and we provide content resources. So go over to superfastrecruitment.co.uk/join and check out what's available.